Close to 1,300 objections raised in re-registration exercise in the Volta region. Third World Network raises issues with Parliament rectifying Economic Partnership Agreement (EPA). And ANC looks to be facing its biggest electoral setback in local elections since the end of apartheid. Well, it's time for News Alive on GBC24 and GTV. Good evening. My name is Seyoko Kwakutre.
And I am Micheline Taka. To help us with the sign language is Robert Frimpoman. So you're welcome.
The Director of Communications at the EC, Mr. Eric Jakpasu, says the extension of the re-registration exercise of NHI's card holders from the 5th to the 12th of August was necessitated by concerns from stakeholders.
According to Mr. Jakpasu, there was a compelling need for the extension at centers that could not re-register most of the eligible voters before the earlier deadline. With the extension, the EC is hoping to capture all remaining names onto the register.
It should be enough provided you report on a daily basis, as we have said. And then besides that, this is not where we had the backlog. It's not cutting across all the districts. Okay. So as we did during the first phase, when the need arises, we can deploy more kits to areas that have pressures, so that we hope that we can capture them. We deleted 56,772 names. And as at the close of the exercise on the 28th of July, we have succeeded in registering 24,286. 24,287. So we are talking about 32,000 plus to register. Everything that we do in the Electoral Commission, it's either regulated by law or it is based on consensus with the stakeholders. Okay, that is why even when we finish the first phase of the NHIS program, from our professional practical perspective, given the deadline and the time that we should work with, that should have ended it. But once concerns were raised by our major stakeholders, okay, political parties and voters in particular, we felt the need to continue.
Parliament has approved the contracting of 2 loan facilities totaling $37 million for the construction of an interchange at the Obechebi-Lamte Circle at Abosioka in Accra. The chairman of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Mr. James Aveji, said the Obechebi-Lamte Circle gets flooded during the rainy season due to poor drainage system, while the construction of the Kwame Nkrumah interchange is designed to significantly improve traffic flow. Motorists could still face a gridlock between the two hubs. The construction of an interchange will deal with the potential threat of traffic jams in that side of the city of Accra. The facilities will be contracted from the HSBC Bank in the UK and will consist of a $22 million supported credit agreement and a $17.2 million commercial credit agreement.
You're welcome back. Madame Bridget Jogbenuku, a business executive and a former beauty queen, has been named running mate for PPP's flag bearer, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum. At the party's headquarters in Accra, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum said the decision to select a female is in line with the party's policy of inclusiveness.
The Progressive People's Party (PPP) was formed in 2012 by Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum to change the dynamics in Ghanaian politics. As the 2016 election approaches, most parties have outdoored their running mates to support the presidential candidates in their quest for power. At the PPP party headquarters in Accra, The national chairman of the party, Ni Alote Hammond, said the PPP is currently in a better position to win the 2016 elections. He urged Ghanaians to make the right choice. The flag bearer of the party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum, said the emblem of the party, which is the sun, signifies a brighter economic future for Ghana.
Some people, they say, this man, he has companies. He must have money. Why? Why does he want to be president? How can I sit there when we are messing up with our resources? It is not being of value to anybody. What good would I be in the eyes of God that I have received some blessings and I decide to go and hide somewhere with my family alone and enjoy those resources and watch other people struggle? Where would I be? I'm asking you, where do you stand? This is where I stand. Where do you stand? Something bad is happening in Ghana. It comes with me. It follows me. So I must make it good. If I don't help to make Ghana good, who should do it? Chinese? American? British? Wallahi. It won't happen.
Madam Bridget Jogbenoku, the founder and executive director of Mentoring Women Ghana, MWG, was officially outdoored as a running mate for Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum, the party's flag bearer.
I have been a voter since 1992. And indeed, in one way or other, I have contributed to bringing each of these two parties to power. Today, we are caught between a rock and a hard place, between the devil and the deep blue sea. It is our choice to remain swinging between these two self-interest parties and getting the same backward results. It is time to try something different. I have chosen what the Progressive People's Party wants to do in its 10-point agenda, and it aligns exclusively with the Ghana I also want. I choose PPP. I vote PPP. And I'm with Papa Kwesi Indum, Ejumara.
In 2012, the party had Madam Eva Loko as running mate, but this time round, she is vying for MP on the ticket of the PPP at the Korle Klottey constituency.
The New Patriotic Party has re-emphasized its commitment to complete transparency and fairness in the December general election. Addressing the media in Accra exactly 24 hours after the ruling NDC held a news briefing on the electronic transmission of election results, the acting general secretary of the NPP, Mr. John Boydu, stated that the country's largest opposition party, the NPP, was not against the use of ICT in the transmission of the election results, but rather the process through which the EC intends to transmit the result electronically.
On the issue of electronic transmission of results, what the EC is seeking to do is a radical departure from what was agreed upon based on consensus. This was indeed acknowledged by the EC itself in its statement reacting to the concerns raised by our campaign manager, Mr. Peter McMahon. As the Commission rightly captured, what was agreed upon was as follows. It is recommended that handheld scanners should be used to scan constituency collation forms that contain the polling station results and sent electronically and directly to the National Collation Center. The hard copies will be sent physically to the head office of the EC. Unquote. This is the recommendation that the Election Reform Committee made and agreed. What the EC plans to do now, that is electronic transmission of the results from the polling stations, is radically different from what was proposed by the Electoral Reforms Committee and agreed upon with the political parties and other stakeholders and the EC. So if you are talking about some IPAC meeting, what was agreed upon at the IPAC meeting was a recommendation that all political parties and other civil society organization and stakeholders agreed upon for us to do.
This is News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has mounted peace messages along a portion of the Ring Road Central, close to the entrance of Broadcasting House. The messages are calling on Ghanaians to be law-abiding, tolerant, and to avoid the use of indecent and intemperate language in the run-up to the December polls.
The 3 billboards along the Ring Road Central, close to the entrance of the Broadcasting House, has peace messages from the Inspector General of Police, John Kudalo, Chairman of the Peace Council, Reverend Emmanuel Asante, and the Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nuhu Shaributu. It's a call on Ghanaians to be peace-loving and tolerant in their activities geared towards the election. They were designed by a team of set designers from the state broadcaster, led by Charles Chekpo. In April 2016, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation launched an initiative dubbed Ghana Wins Election 2016 Project in collaboration with Star Ghana to, among other things, work with the National Peace Council, political parties, chiefs and security agencies by providing them with all manner of platforms to educate as many people as possible on the need to maintain peace in the run-up to the elections and thereafter. The peace messages along the Ring Road Central is part of the peace and security campaign aspect of the project. GBC24 spoke to some passers-by about their impressions of the peace messages.
I saw these posts here on Monday, and I took the time to read to find out what is actually telling us. Muslims normally listen to their leader, the Sheikh. So if we have the Sheikh cautioning them on things to do during, before, and then after the election, I think they would listen to it. And then when it comes to the Christians, I also realized that anytime a pastor or a Christian leader speaks or advises, we the Christians also take it into a very high consideration. And then I saw the IGP. I think it will also help them, the police, to know what they should also do and what they shouldn't do. And we also knowing what we should do and not to do, and the Muslims knowing, I think we will have a peaceful election and a better Ghana. Thank you.
When I read it, what I realized is that we need peace in the country. So, as you can see, we are in the days of election, and we are all going to cast our votes. So we must do everything politely. We need to respect each other, especially the polling agents. So if we reach there, we should humble ourselves and vote. After we cast our votes, all of us must go back to our places so that we will not bring any confusion.
The Ghana Wins Election 2016 project also has crawlers, jingles and advertisements on voter awareness, pro-peace and gender, as well as social inclusion. These are expected to contribute to the nation's achievement of a credible, peaceful, inclusive and transparent elections.
Families in the eastern corridor of the northern region, where 70% of inhabitants are farmers, face food insecurity due to inadequate rains. A recent report on closing funding gaps in agriculture and its implications for food security in rural Ghana indicates that women are the most affected.
The Eastern Corridor consists of 8 districts that stretch from Ketekwach in the Volta region to Ghana's northeastern border with Burkina Faso. According to the 2010 Population and Housing Census, the 8 districts have a total population of 779,000. About 70% of them are farmers. The Ghana Living Standard Survey 2013 revealed that poverty remains high among the people in these districts.
The timing of the funds that are released for agriculture activities to the district directors of Agric also comes very late, and so they are unable to actually utilize them for the purpose for which it was. I mean, if you release money for extension services at a time that farmers don't really need the extension services, then how do you deliver it to them?
The Director of Agriculture at SADA, Mr. Nelson Namikat Dut, said the report is a wake-up call to all stakeholders in agriculture.
We have to think out of the box so that we will be able to produce food to feed our growing population.
The report recommended the development of agricultural infrastructure, including roads, storage facilities and irrigation dams to boost food production in the area. An anti-poverty project, Food Security Through Cooperative in Northern Ghana, fostering, funded by Global Affairs Canada, is focused on increasing sustainable gender-equitable food security for over 42,000 women in 8 districts in the eastern corridor of Northern Ghana.
Hello again, my name is Morris Ogbete. In business tonight, Parliament on Wednesday ratified the Economic Partnership Agreement EPA between the Government of Ghana and the European Union. Government earlier signed onto an interim agreement but was awaiting ratification from Parliament as stipulated in the country's laws in relation to international agreements. The ratification comes despite opposition from organizations such as the AGI, GUTA and the Ghana Chamber of Commerce.
After years of heated debate, Parliament has ratified the Economic Partnership Agreement, allowing the EU 80% access to the Ghanaian market, while Ghana obtains 100% access into the EU market space. Although the agreement has been ratified, Ghana would be allowed long transaction periods to open up partially to EU imports while providing protection for sensitive sectors. The EU, however, opens up its market fully and immediately. Proud to the passage of this bill, many, including academia, civil society and industry, had registered their displeasure with the pact. The argument was that the EPA will lead to job losses and other means of livelihoods. In the manufacturing and other industrial sectors, the EPA will cost about 40,000 jobs in 10 years.
At the moment, what we are doing with that EPA is that we have signed an agreement and the whistle has been blown, and we are not ready to compete. We are not competitive yet.
As at the time we were going in for the EPA negotiations, Ghana had not got a trade policy, neither did it have an industrial policy. So it therefore goes without saying that Ghana will lose heavily as we have signed to the EPA.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association has come out strongly against the deal. President of the association, Berima Ofori Ameyao, spoke to GBC24 in the lead-up to the passage of the bill.
We're talking about energy as a backbone of every nation throughout the whole world. Look at the way our energy situation is performing. You see, so we as a country need to put the fundamentals right before we think of going to sign an agreement for 25 years and 30 years. To me, it is neither here nor there.
The Trade and Industry Ministry, however, believes the agreement will save the country a total of 400 million euros in export taxes because taxes and duties that will be paid on Ghana's export to the EU will be scrapped following the signing of the agreement. Nigeria, Gambia and Tanzania have so far refused to join the fray. The volume of trade between the EU and Ghana was estimated at 11.2 billion euros from 1.9 billion euros in 2000. Currently, the EU is Ghana's biggest trading partner.
Meanwhile, the Third World Network, a trade facilitation non-profit organization, has said that the passage of the EPA shoots Ghana's Made in Ghana agenda in the foot. The network is worried about the haste with which Parliament passed what it describes as a critical bill. Programs Officer Sylvester Baguru has been sharing his thoughts on the issue.
But Parliament to pass this under certificate of urgency within, I don't know how many, a few days to pass is rather unfortunate. When you look at what is happening in the European Parliament, they are debating the EPAS over 3 months. They are still debating on the EPAS. And so that tells you about how accountable the European Parliament is to European citizens. And so for our Parliament to do this, I think it's rather unfortunate.
It looks like government was in a tight position by 1st August, by 1st October, if we didn't pass the EPA, that meant that we were going to be denied access into the EU market, and tariffs were going to be imposed. And so they had no option but to pass the EPA.
You know, technically, I mean, if you look at the technical argument, whether from the African Union Commission, whether from the UN Economic Commission for Africa, other development think tanks, and all that, you see that the kind of even the revenue that we're going to lose is more than the kind of duties that we would have paid if we didn't sign the EPAs and ratify it. And so on that balance, on that narrow fiscal balance, it doesn't even make any economic sense to sign the EPAs. You get that narrow economic fiscal balance. On a larger note, there are a number of articles in the agreement that's a clamp. You know, it's a clamp on South-South cooperation. You know, there's one agreement that says that if tomorrow Ghana wants to have an agreement with China, Brazil, or India, or some other country, then the EU automatically qualifies. I mean, that is a clamp on South-South cooperation. So there are a number of articles and clauses that should not be in the agreement. What we call WTO plus, they are not needed for a free trade agreement. So why are they in the agreement? The worst of all is what they call the rendezvous clause. You know, it's a commitment to negotiating other sectors such as services, you know, financial services, and a range of things that we don't need, you know, to have a free trade agreement. So on a technical basis, it is wrong. The evidence point to the fact that it is a bad agreement.
The interest rates in the European Union are very low.
Yes.
They have sustainable power.
Yes.
Their companies are very, very competitive.
Yes.
So it's going to be a very well organized structure against our structure. How is that going to pan out?
I see, and that is a very good question. And that's why if you link that to what they call the bilateral safeguards or other countervailing measures that we can impose, if the product, because of the conditions in Europe, the product can be sold at the same price at which the same produced in Europe and sold here, still cheaper than our cost of production. And so if you want to use what they call countervailing measures, you need to prove that the product is sold in your country less than the cost of production in the country. Even if they sold it a little above the cost of production, it will still be lower than our products, because the conditions every day we have light off, we have water problems, we have all that, and so the conditions of manufacturing in Ghana, they're very high, and we don't get the kind of support that the European corporations have gotten over the years, over 100 years. They've gotten those kind of support. We don't have that, and so if we want to develop as a country, we need to have a sober reflection on this. And this is an agreement right from the African Union Commission, right to the regional economic communities, and all that. People have actually raised objections and observations and reservations about the EPAs. And so
let's go over to the interbank market and get the latest updates of how the local currency is performing. We also bring you latest price of gold, cocoa, and oil on the international commodities. We do insurance news brought to you by SIC Live. Now, SIC Insurance Company has declared a dividend of 0.0214 pesos per share. This means each shareholder gets 0.0214 on every share purchased.
SIC Insurance Company underwrites non-life insurance risk. The group issues a diversified portfolio of investment services to provide its customers with asset management solutions for their savings and retirement needs. Since its inception, the group has introduced innovative products to bridge the insurance gap in the country. At the annual general meeting, the company recorded profit after tax of 9.49 million Ghana cedis in 2015 against a loss of 8.3 million Ghana cedis in 2014. Profit before tax was 12.13 million Ghana cedis against a loss of 9.2 million Ghana cedis in 2014. This represents a growth of 231.5% increase in profit. Earnings per share increased by 114%. Claims incurred showed a growth of about 22.8% from 32.34 million Ghana cedis in 2014 to 39.74 million Ghana cedis in 2015. Net income recorded a 14.5% growth in 2015 to 84,288,263 Ghana cedis from 73,581,917 Ghana cedis in 2014. The board chairman of the company, Mr. Mike Allen Hammer, said though there was an overall increase of about 14.5% in net premium, there are still challenges with the company's core business operations.
The key factors that affected profitability were noted to be gross premium in reinsurance, claims, and management expense. Other factors recognized by the board were pricing, exchange rates, inflation, and intense competition, to mention a few. The unfortunate June 3rd, 2015 flood and fire incident is the major component of the 22.8% increment in claims paid over the year 2014.
Management of SIC Insurance Company are hopeful that despite the myriad of challenges confronting the company, SIC will focus on delivering on equal value to all stakeholders, aggressively embark on an expansion drive, and re-engineer its business processes. Beatrice Sanaju, GBC24, Accra.
Insurance news was brought to you by SIC Live. My name is Morris Ogbete. News Hour continues.
Welcome back. The Accra Psychiatric Hospital has suspended admission of patients due to lack of adequate resources and logistics. For the authorities, this is a worrying situation and a dent in the country's mental health system. At an interaction with the hospital's authorities at the facility in Accra, the wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, appealed to other individuals and organizations to come to the aid of the facility and help improve on mental health in the country. A report by Chidi Ramideto.
A research by the World Health Organization shows that about 10% of Ghanaians suffer from mental disorders. This therefore makes mental health a national concern. The Accra Psychiatric Hospital is one of the oldest facilities responsible for mental health care in the country. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, has visited the facility to offer some support. Established in 1906, the hospital has had its fair share of problems, including very old infrastructure and in poor shape. The facility currently houses some 600 patients in its general female and male wards, special and children's wards. The director of the hospital, Dr. Pinaman Apau, says due to lack of funding, the facility is currently heavily indebted to suppliers, which makes running the facility a daunting task.
Mental health in Ghana is free, and therefore we also do not generate much of internal generated funds. So we depend on the subventions from government, and then some donors. For some time now, the subventions have been a bit erratic and irregular, and so it's not been enough to cater for the running of the hospital.
A consultant psychiatrist from the Kolibu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Sami Ohene, was not happy that mental health is not given priority attention, even though the state of mind of citizens reflects a country's economic productivity.
Mental health is stigmatized, and we face a lot of discrimination. Even within the Ministry of Health, if they have 10 cities to share, it's almost as if for mental health is an afterthought. And yet, remember that everybody that you see here, on the day they were born, there was celebration. On the 8th day, they named them. And anybody can be subject to problems relating to mental health. So it is important that we recognize that people with mental disorders deserve dignity, they deserve the right environment, they deserve care and compassion.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, commended staff for their commitment and passion in the discharge of their duty despite the challenges.
They came saying that we know that government is the one that gives us the subvention, and government has been trying, but we need to go further. So we are bringing something out to share with you to see what we think that we can also do to support. And for me, that made it for me. A lot of us think that it's government, it's government, it's government. Yes, it's government. But if government is doing and you also find something else to add, it goes a long way.
She then donated assorted foodstuff, including rice, cooking oil, sugar, fruits, and some medical items. The authorities of the hospital were grateful to Mrs. and Mr. Arthur for her timely assistance. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
And for sports tonight, the Ghana Football Association has unveiled a new Premier League trophy it acquired from Italy for the winners of the league. The cup replaces the old trophy provided by the immediate past title sponsors of the league. Executive Committee member of the GFA, Nana Benyin Eising, who represented the president of the FA, announced the whooping 120,000 Ghana cedis as prize money for the winners of this year's league. Eising stressed the need to make the trophy an iconic emblem of the Ghana Premier League to be used for many years.
Was acquired for the Premier League by the immediate past headline sponsors, that's First Capital Bank. Having been customized with their name emblazoned on the trophy, it would not be appropriate to continue using the trophy, hence the GFA's decision to have a swift replacement. The new trophy is an Italian creation made of high quality material of brass electroplated, 1,000 by 1,000 silver and 24 karat gold. The trophy has a precious wood base with a height of 67 centimeters and width of 40 centimeters. The glittering trophy is elegantly designed to fit the status of the Ghana Premier League as the topmost football competition in the country. The Ghana Football Association places so much value on this competition, and together with all our stakeholders, including the media, we want to turn this trophy as the permanent Premier League trophy and an iconic element of our league. This means this trophy would be recognized by all football lovers as the sole trophy for the Ghana Premier League for many years to come.
For the Rio Olympic Games, reigning Olympic and world champions, the USA cruised past New Zealand to a comfortable 2-0 win in Belo Horizonte on Wednesday night. Carlo Eloyd, the World Player of the Year, opened the scoring in the first half with a header before Alex Morgan increased the defending champions' advantage just after a break. And shifting attention to athletics, where Usain Bolt has vowed to let American sprinter Jocelyn Gatlin feel his full wrath as he targets an unprecedented treble of gold medals at the Rio Olympics. Bolt was given a medical exemption by Jamaican officials to compete at the Rio Games after he pulled a hamstring during the Olympic trials, and Gatlin wasted little opportunity in trying to get under the 29-year-old's skin. And on that athletic note, we end sports here. My name is Rebecca Iwa.
Melodies, a renowned music group, the Gracias Choir from Korea, thrilled audience at the 2016 International Cultural Festival and World Youth Summit. The event was held at the University of Ghana in Accra. We bring you excerpts of some performances.
The audience were treated to a variety of performances on the night. A gospel group from Ghana opened the show. Then came another cultural group from Ghana. The martial arts group also entertained the gathering their performance. Gracias Choir from Korea gave a rendition of some local songs.
Well, it's a wrap on the news for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at 10:30 with news tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening.